Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today we're doing 1989's Kickboxer. Before we get started, if you want to follow me or Corey on Twitter, you could follow me at Junior D's. You could follow Corey at Corey_idol. And on Twitter and Instagram, if you'd like to follow the show, you could follow the show on both platforms at Kiss the Reviews. Let's get into the cast of 1989's Kickboxer. This film stars Jean-Claude Van Damme as Kurt Sloane, Dennis Alexio as Eric Sloane, Dennis Xian as Xian, Michel Qissi as Tong Po, Rochelle Ashana as Mylee, and Haskell V. Anderson III as Winston Taylor.
Can we point out one thing before we get into this review?
Nope, absolutely not.
Okay, thanks for stopping by, everybody.
What would you like to point out, Corey?
Well, the title of the film, for starters. It is Kickboxer.
Yes.
Who's kickboxing in this fucking movie? It's all Muay Thai.
Well,
we know way too much about fighting now because of MMA.
Yes.
To actually not talk about the fact that throughout the movie, all they talk about is Muay Thai. But we, being Americans, are so fucking stupid, we would never go see a movie called Muay Thai. It would either have to be like called Thailand Tussle or fucking Kickboxer. So they went with the latter.
Well, so the movie opens with a kickboxing match, the only kickboxing match in the entire movie. Eric, the Eliminator Sloane, is kicking the shit out of a dude that literally looks like he just started kickboxing yesterday.
He should be eliminated from international travel. I know we're going to get to it, but that guy should not be allowed to travel abroad as an ambassador of our country.
No, because he kicks the hell out of this dude, Kurt Sloane, who I won't use Kurt Sloane's name for the rest of this. It's JCVD or Van Damme or a variation of those. But Van Damme is Eric's little brother, and he's in Eric's corner as his trainer. After the fight, he's asked what's next after literally beating everyone in the United States, and he says he wants to take on the world's best to show them who's boss. A couple of things with this whole opening scene. First of all, and this goes throughout the whole movie. Mm-hmm. Like when there's boxing movies, and this is 89, this isn't like 79. Mm-hmm. We learned more about boxing and more about actual kickboxing because kickboxing was a thing in the United States then. Mm-hmm. But there are managers and trainers and cornermen and cutmen. And there's 7 people in the corner, regardless whether you're boxing or kickboxing or whatever the hell. These people throughout the film, there is 1, maybe 2 max people in the fighter's corner throughout the entire film. And he says here in the interview too, not only is he going to go and he's just like, oh, they invented kickboxing in Thailand, and that's where they have the best fighters. He's like, Thailand, Korea, it's all the same. I'm going to go there, and I'm going to kick all their short asses. It's like, fuck, first of all, social studies, bro. Just a little bit of geography will go a long way. And 2, this dude is literally the most American to ever American.
Bangkok, Taiwan, Tokyo. Hey, what's the difference? I'm kicking ass wherever I go.
So I had this image when I was watching this scene, basically, and it started off after the fight with him coming down an escalator. And they're like, why are you going to Thailand? And he's like, because they're sending rapists, and it's bad, very bad people. Like, this is so borderline racist, the way he's talking. It's like, dude, slow down, dude. You need to learn to be like Ray Lewis when you're a fucking psychopath on the field, and then the game's over, and you just turn it off. You turn the ignition off, and you're back to loving God and Jesus and your fellow man. And everybody's happy. But this shit, like, he comes out, I'm fucking kicking everybody's I'm winning fucking Vietnam, bitch. Ugh.
Hell yes.
I wouldn't even classify this under like in the like the racist bucket. This is classic 1980s American hubris and ignorance. Yeah. Like, they just said, okay, we need to make a character. Let's dump a bucket of ignorance and then just red, white, and blue paint on top of it. And like, that's who this guy is.
Yeah. And they continue to demonstrate this why he still has legs. Because, because he goes to a foreign country to fight their champion.
Yes.
And doesn't even know that this guy's fighting Muay Thai. Because he, in the middle of the fight, goes, oh man, did you see him catch me with that elbow? And Jean-Claude Van Damme has to say, yeah, because he's fighting Muay Thai.
The next set of scenes is Eric and Van Damme for a while. This is like a montage of them on a boat, like enjoying Thailand and things.
And part of their enjoying Thailand is him presenting a Taiwanese ladyboy hooker with flowers.
Yes, because that's the thing. And also looking at his brother like, you see what a ladies' man I am? I brought her flowers. And now she's going to have sexy times with me. And it's like, dude, if you just gave her $5, she'd let you put it anywhere. Like,
right. If you just looked above at the sign that said Winky Pussy Ladyboy Fucking Club, you would know.
Van Damme here, as he does throughout this movie, at least the beginning, warns his brother like, hey, we should probably train instead of you running a train on like hookers in Thailand. So he's like, whatever, we'll train after this, which they do end up training for about 15 seconds. And the Eliminator is all of a sudden ready to fight Thailand's champion. And before the fight, Van Damme warns his brother once again about the fighting style, to which Eric gives him the most American answer ever.
I think the actual line from the movie was, have you seen the size of this mustache? Fuck that pussy.
So he was like, yeah, fuck that pussy. Mustache is dope. Go get me some ice because I want to rub ice on my nipples before I get into the fucking ring. So Van Damme goes and gets ice for his big bro. And on the way back, he sees Tong Po in a dark room kicking a pillar. And he runs back to Eric to warn him not to fight this dude because A, he's a psycho and he's kicking a pillar in his locker room.
Yeah, dude. And just to rewind, to refresh your memory in case you've already forgotten, Eric's big training here was to lightly kick pads for 15 minutes that his brother's holding. And basically, he is doing mat karate. And then he's like, all right, let's go fuck this dude up. And then you roll to this guy who's like the T-1000 and is doing structural damage to a beam that is holding up the fucking building.
You were right.
If you actually gave a shit about your brother in this case, you should have broken his leg yourself. He would have been so better off.
And at least he would have been able to walk.
If I see you getting ready to go into a fight and your opponent is beating up metal in a building, what I am going to do is concuss you so severely you can't possibly fight anything. Yes. And then I'm dragging you the fuck back to America. And we don't ever have to talk about it. I don't even want to thank you.
Yeah.
Just, we both know deep down, I saved your life because that dude's shin is tearing down a building.
Cut to this fight, and Eric gets absolutely abused by Po, who is an actual, like, Muay Thai fighter. And JCVD wants Eric to quit after the first round, but he just watched Rocky, apparently, and he's like, hey, I'm going to get back in there. Rocky got his ass beat for the first few rounds, and then he always comes back. And after abusing Eric a bit more, Po paralyzes Eric with an elbow to the back.
Yeah, so this is my impression of Eric in the fucking corner, right? After round 1. You don't understand, Kurt. The Berlin Wall came down, Kurt. We can do it. I'm a champion. I'm American. We can do it. Needless to say, things do not go well for Eric after that speech.
No. So things don't go well for Eric after that. He was amped up. It was like the Eddie Murphy bit. He was like, "Here I go!" And then he gets in there and he just gets fucking obliterated again. He gets paralyzed. And then the arena that they're in is just like, hey, dump the dumb American out on the side and lock the gate. Tell them to go fuck themselves.
In fairness now, this isn't Thailand's fault or these arenas or anything. Eric was going to be transported properly to a hospital and receive proper care, but he's so American, he went, I don't want your fucking socialized medicine. Leave me on the street like a man.
Hell yes.
I'll have my brother and a stranger take me to the fucking hospital. So this random American who's at the fight, because there's always one random American at these fights, gambling and shit. His name's Taylor, and he's at the fight. He takes Eric and JCVD to the hospital to get Eric some help. Van Damme finally gets the news that his brother is paralyzed and is told that Eric will have to stay in the hospital for a minimum of 3 months, which, script-wise works out pretty well for JCVD because it's like, oh, I have enough time to train and then fight this guy. And then we can go back home after the fight and everything's cool. So,
it's all very nice and tidy. Thank you, 3 months.
He tells Taylor that he wants to fight Po. Taylor refuses. He pushes back a little bit because the only way to get Po is inside the ring.
And you are not good enough!
He screams, "You ain't good enough," and then walks away. But then 2 seconds later, he was like, well, you know what? See, I got this guy. Okay? I got this guy I know because apparently I trade arms and grenades and shit for favors around Thailand, so fucking dope. He could probably teach you Muay Thai because after this, we see Van Damme going and getting laughed out of a Muay Thai gym. He sees Taylor again. Taylor's like, hey, I got this guy. He could train you, but they have to go drinking and look at titties first.
I get it. You're hell-bent on revenge. But you're literally walking around Thailand going, I want to fight that guy on every poster, dude. Of course you're going to get laughed at. You walked in and asked a children's teacher to teach you Muay Thai because you want to fight the champion, who also happens to be a fucking gangster?
Yes.
Come on, bro. What are you doing? Why does he always play such a fucking idiot?
Well, and
in
not
all
only
of these movies.
And not only that,
stupid.
Yes. So you have that. But during this whole scene, because he's sad because, his brother's legs don't work. And we get the montage of JCVD walking and pondering the meaning of life. And then it's sad song time. And we get the sometimes it feels so hopeless. And we'll fight for love and shit because it's Van Damme.
Sometimes it seems so hopeless, all alone.
Life is hard when your brother's paralyzed.
Taylor takes him into the forest, I guess, in Thailand to meet Zhang, who is gonna teach him Muay Thai. And after speaking to Van Damme for a few minutes and telling him that he needs to go get him some groceries, Zhang agrees then to train Kurt finally.
And I gotta jump in real quick for this next scene.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, do-gooders. Uncle Corey here. If a local gang to a nation you just walked into is doing their collections and their rounds, let them do it. It's got nothing to do with you.
Yes.
You are causing a world of trouble for a people you know nothing about, a culture you know nothing about, a person you just met because she happened to own the grocery store.
Yes.
You don't know anything about her. You're like, wait a second. They're collecting money from you? No, I'm stopping that. And she even says, don't. You're going to cause trouble for me. He goes, what do you want me to do? Hey-ya! Fuck that shit, dude. I want you to ignore it.
Well,
Stupid.
and the funniest part about the whole thing is that she goes, because Mylee is Zhang's niece.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes to him and says, hey, he came to the store. It took me days to clean up. It took me forever. He ruined my store. He made trouble for me. And he goes, but he's American, so it doesn't count.
American can get away with it, so it's good.
You know what? I've met 3 Americans in this country so far. One just got paralyzed. The other one is a gun runner, so I have to assume he's safe just on business interests alone.
Yes.
And I'm out here beating up fucking collection goons.
Exactly.
It's pretty dumb. It's pretty fucking stupid.
Yes. The next day, we begin the training, and Van Damme struggles at the beginning, but I'm assuming it's because he's wearing a potato sack to train in?
So are you saying that you're mad at him because he's poor and couldn't afford Lululemons?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Here's your burlap sack, poor, now train.
Well, and not only that, because we also, listen, you want to train in burlap, I don't give a shit. Go get Birkenstocks, bare feet. I really don't care how you train as long as the end of this movie works out well for you. But later, because we get some more training scenes here with Van Damme, and Van Damme, I guess because it's too hot in Thailand, he decides that he wants to cut his burlap pants into shorts, but he cuts them into this weird Fred Flintstone, like jagged, pointy burlap jort kind of fucking shit. Like, are you a fucking caveman? I don't get the whole... His outfit during training is fucking ridiculous.
This movie would have been so much better if Fred Flintstone was the one training in Muay Thai.
Is it possible this story is true? Yes, it is.
Xian and Van Damme here then have dinner with Mylee one night. Mm. And Van Damme here starts to put the moves on Mylee. It's like, hey, I'll probably never see you again. Can we start a relationship? This is like a whole Karate Kid kind of sequence where it's like, I'm totally banging you, and then I'm going back to LA or wherever the fuck they live, and we're never going to see each other again.
Yeah, 100%. And his face here where he's like, I'm passionate and I want you, right? That face looks exactly the same as the face he had when he was dying in Expendables 2. Put them side by side, there are the same fucking look on his face. It is terrifying.
We then get another shitload of training scenes where Van Damme is getting his groin stretched by ropes. He's doing more splits and kicking shit. He's training underwater. He's kicking palm trees down and having giant coconuts dropped on his abs from 10,000 feet in the air.
The amount of katas he has to do, those are breathing exercises. The amount of these he does in all of his movies, let alone now one underwater.
Yes.
You can't breathe underwater. Why are you doing a breathing exercise? Just tossing that one out there. Stupid.
Because he can. He has to be able to breathe out and in at the same time, because that's a thing. And the only way to test said theory is to do it underwater.
If you can do both same time, it's good.
So Zhang then takes JCVD to a local bar where we see Freddie Lee, his goons. They sit down for multiple drinks. Van Damme gets drunk as shit. And Zhang makes him do some American dancing. While JCVD dances with the local women's, Zhang begins talking to the local men. And all of a sudden, the men interrupt Van Damme just when shit's getting good and he's feeling his splits on the dance floor. And he then kicks the holy hell out of everyone and then stumbles out of the bar to find Zhang.
You need a scene where you're going to have we beat up the lesser guys to show you how far along I've come in my training.
Yes.
This, as far as that scene goes, this was good.
Yes.
This was entertaining.
This is one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Mhm.
Watching actor Van Damme dance, because I don't know if that's how he dances in real life. Something tells me that it is. But watching him act as though he's dancing is probably in my top 10 things I love most about my life so far. It's so laughably entertaining to me. It warms this like piece of coal that is my heart just a little bit.
We'll call that your Van Damme hole.
He definitely filled my Van Damme hole.
Tits.
What I always like in movies, because if you don't know this, when they shoot movies, typically the song that you hear, they're just dancing. There is no music on set. And if there is, it's 9 times out of 10 probably different because they don't know what song's going to be used.
Yeah.
So I like to watch the dancer and the dance partner, especially when they're extras like this, because they're on 2 totally different beats. And in this case, there are 3 of them. So they're on 3 totally different beats dancing. It is amazing. Not to mention, his dancing is phenomenal. If anybody out there is looking to get me a Christmas present, a tank top with suspender latches at the top so it just falls down like a nursing bib, that's what I need in my life.
Merry Christmas.
I will strut these 3-inch pythons around town like it's going out of style, bro.
We then cut to the ring where Zhang has set up a fight for Van Damme. JCVD fucks this dude up pretty quickly as the crowd begins to chant "Knock So Cow," which Taylor tells JCVD translates to white warrior.
I think everyone was being incredibly nice to Jean-Claude Van Damme here and just telling him that that's what that meant. You know, like when you get
I think they were chanting white devil at him.
You know, like when you get like a Asian character, and I don't mean like a fucking cartoon character, some racist shit, but like a goddamn like word
tattoo?
in Chinese, like, this means lucky. No, it doesn't. It means white slut.
100%. We then get more sucky face with JCVD and Mylee after he trains by himself in Stone City and hears noises and things, whatever.
This is also one of my favorite parts because, you know, he's channeling the way of the ancient warrior.
Sure.
They got 2 guys in bathrobes just fucking going, like hitting each other with sticks. These dudes have no comprehension of what they're doing, let alone how to use the weapons they are holding on to. That is some of the funniest shit. And then we cut to like, it's like the warriors who, and then all of a sudden you cut to like an eagle. But it's not just like a picture of an eagle who's majestic. It's like a close-up of the eagle's fucking open mouth and tongue. Your spirit animal is an eagle that has to mouth breathe.
You were right.
Eric then here gets out of the hospital, stays at Zhang's place, which it's not wheelchair accessible. We'll say that. It's just not wheelchair accessible. And he stays there and tells Van Damme that he doesn't want him to fight Po because he doesn't want him to get paralyzed either. Zhang then tells JCVD, after receiving news on the fight, that he and Po will fight old school, with their hands wrapped in hemp and resin and dipped in broken glass.
My hand is dipped in hemp and resin. I don't have to tell you what's about to happen.
That's Corey's favorite kind of rap.
Fuck yeah.
We then get a bunch of scenes randomly strung together here. We get a scene of Freddie Lee borrowing $1 million to bet the $1 million on Po. And then, if you didn't think Po was already this like bad dude, it cuts to him slapping Mylee, ripping her shirt off, and then, as we hear from Mylee later, raping her for some fucking strange reason. Because apparently, this is to get JCVD out of his game. Because after the beating and the raping and the pillaging and whatever the fuck else is going on, we then get some other nonsensical scenes of Freddie's goons coming to Zhang's place, stabbing his dog, taking Eric, and generally just pissing JCVD off even more.
This seems like Freddie and Tong Po are not speaking. Like, you guys should coordinate here a little bit better. Like, have a mushroom belt and a mushroom jacket, because you're raping this girl.
Yes.
While Freddie's doing more. He doesn't know about, JCVD doesn't know about, oh, sorry, it's YouTube. JCVD doesn't know about the shrape that just happened. So what they have to do is then kidnap Eric. He knows about Eric, and then he just falls. The shraping didn't need to happen at all. I don't know why you had to make him even worse. You're now focusing on Freddie Lee as a problem. You're now focusing on how does Freddie Lee get punished when I win also, because he's also a bad guy.
Well, here's the issue that I have with all of this. It's the fact that they're doing this to, I don't know, get Van Damme out of his game, throw him off a little bit. But all this does in the end is piss him off. There's been enough movies. Now, this is, what's the situation in real life? Fuck that. Let's look at scripts that have been written since the beginning of time till this movie came out. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows that that's just going to piss him off even more. Why do we have to have any of this? It's literally 10 minutes of nonsensical bullshit that you don't really need to add in there. I mean, maybe, I guess, kidnap Eric, but like... Ugh.
Well, I'm fine if you want to kidnap Eric. That's fine. Because you have that, then you get to see, Mr. Miyagi, and because that's who he's basically imitating at this point. Yeah. And goddamn Dylan, or whatever his name is.
By the way, my name's Taylor.
Taylor, Dylan, fucking, it doesn't matter.
Whatever.
Fucking breaking into the place, and, you get to see all them, like, he's redeeming himself now, Taylor. Yeah. He's not just some fucking schmo who turns away. He's invested.
Yeah.
Like, he's getting revenge for the dog. Cool.
I guess. Whatever. But listen.
But also, and you know why? This is the real reason they did it. Because every single fight, since we're on the last fight now, every single fight in this movie has one horrible, glaring thing in common. And it's whoever's going to win the fight, their opponent is not allowed to fight back.
Yes.
Nobody even has their fucking hands up.
Dude,
from Eric's first fight to all the way to this. When Tong Po's beating the shit out of JCVD, he doesn't hold his hands up, and he's just boom, 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 getting his ass whooped. With glass, by the way. He has no face left. And then when it turns, and JC starts beating up, Tong Po's just like, I don't know how to defend myself. I'm getting punched. Oh, shit.
Is it possible this story is true? Yes, it is.
At least the Van Damme piece gets explained away, because we cut to the fight, and Freddie Lee goes up to Van Damme and says, hey, we took your brother. You need to take this the distance, and you need to lose at the end for the fans, whatever, blah, 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 or we'll kill your brother. Okay, cool. At least that's explained away. But these other ones, it's just, their hands are down and just getting the fuck kicked out of them. But listen, at the end of the day, we're not here for the first fight with Eric. We're not here for Eric getting paralyzed. We're here for this fight. And
that is true.
This fight, we cut to fight night, which is so old school. It's in a fucking cave with flaming torches and broken glass everywhere.
Broken glass everywhere.
And they're getting their hands wrapped up, dipping their hands in like fucking crazy glue, and then into the broken glass. And they're both apparently required to wear loincloths as the official old school fighting uniform.
Yeah, we haven't seen those sweet cheeks.
No, you have to.
Enough in this movie.
Yes.
That's why that's there. And I have to offer this.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, gang leaders of the world. A couple points here. One, when you're making a large bet, especially in something you're going to fix, traditionally, you fix it for the underdog because that pays you more money. Tong Po is in his own country fighting a guy whose brother, who was an actual fighter, he just paralyzed 3 months ago.
Yes.
Now he's fighting this upstart kid who won one fucking fight. And you're like, I need $1 million and I got to fix the fight. Why? That's stupid. You're going to maybe make, I don't know, $20 back because those odds are so terrible.
Yes.
And then, to anybody who thinks like, oh, in order to fix the fight, I'm going to kidnap somebody you care about. And then I'm going to tell you, do this or else. You're both dead. You're going to kill us anyway. That's a stupid plan.
You're
if
a
you
bad
say
guy.
that to me, I'm going to say, fuck you. I'll take my chances winning the thing. Kill him. He's fucking paralyzed. Do you know how much that cost in 1989 to take care of a paralyzed brother? Fuck that expense. Kill him. You've talked to him for 5 minutes. He's an asshole anyway. Fucking whack him. I'm winning this fight and going home, bitch.
Apparently, don't be anybody with any sort of special need in Corey's family because you're not in the family anymore.
Well, you are, just not if you get kidnapped and it's like, do this or I'm going to kill you.
You just won't take care of him. It's fine.
Yeah, I ain't paying a ransom for you.
The fight begins. Van Damme isn't fighting back at all. He's taking Freddie's advice to throw the fight. Poe then tells Van Damme that he raped Mylee. So now JCVD knows about the shraping, and Taylor and Zhang save Eric from Freddie's as the fight is going on. And they return to the fight to show JCVD that Eric is alive and well and he's saved. So now you can really fight. And now the true fight begins. And Van Damme tells Mylee to cut his wraps, and he begins to fight back because Poe doesn't fight here at all. So he kicks the fuck out of Poe. Then he kicks Freddie in the face, and the movie ends. Everybody celebrates, and no one mentions Mylee's shraping ever again.
Swept under the rug. And I have to offer this PSA real quick.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, combat fighters. Uncle Corey here. I don't care if it's in the script or you're badass or whatever the fuck it is. Don't ever turn your back on your opponent, even if it's to do the ha and block his coming from behind punches at you. That's fucking stupid. That's how you lose. Your opponent should always be in your field of vision.
Don't do that, it's not good for you.
Hi, anybody in any sort of sport, typically fighting, boxing, MMA, Muay Thai, whatever. Don't fight outside of this country, okay? For a couple of reasons. One, unless it is professionally done and set up, and unless it's nationally televised, which they could do back in '89, miraculously, and televised worldwide, just say no. Because the minute you go to another country to fight, you're on their rules. Their rules are not the same. So and especially when it's like, hey, even at the beginning when Eric fights Poe, right? Mm-hmm. They're fighting in a ring, in an arena, and I'm using heavy air quotes. It's basically a factory. Like as soon as the fight's done, they clear out the stands and then they're making soccer balls or whatever the fuck. Like It's not an arena. It's not a stadium. Don't fight in caves or factories or like Fight Club is great as a movie. It's just not awesome in real life practice. Okay. So
that is
just avoid that.
That is definitely a chop head, pull guts kind of factory.
Yes.
Not recommended.
I mean, but listen, overall, out of all the JCVD movies, that we've done that are out there. Like, this one's entertaining if Eric isn't in this movie. Like, I actually really enjoyed I enjoyed the journey of this movie because I like the middle piece. It was like, there's no fucking around. There isn't 18 million B plots, right? It's brother gets paralyzed, wins championship, gets paralyzed. I want revenge. I train. I fight him. I win. Done. It's straight ahead. This is what you're getting. The training scene's a little bit too long, to be perfectly honest. If they shrunk that a little bit, we would have been good. But you remove a few of those scenes and take Eric out of the script, and this movie's a really good movie. He goes to Thailand because he hears about some underground Muay Thai fucking championship and whatever. I mean, but it's basically blood sport if you do that. Blood sport 2. Muay Thai situation.
More kumite.
Hell yes.
I don't mind this movie as much as the other ones. Again, Eric is a dick. I get why you're making him a dick because he's got to be that cocky American going over to show him blah, 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 blah. But also, nah. I would rather, let's just, fuck it. Cue up another Jean-Claude Van Damme's a twin movie. Because this shit...
Dude, there's plenty of those.
This is my takeaway after this movie, in all honesty, is what happened to his brother? That's it. What happened to his real life brother? Because something did. Because every fucking movie of his involves a brother. Like, I didn't know you existed, or you're paralyzed, or you just showed up looking to hustle me, or
I was adopted, you were adopted, we were adopted, we were separated at birth.
What the fuck happened to this dude's brother in real life?
Because if you look into it, he is one of the writers. If you look at the story, like there's a separate screenwriter, but in every one of these movies, he's got a writing credit. Whether he just walked into the writer's room and went, I got to have a brother. Like, I don't know if that's the case, but if maybe that's why he got the writing credit. But you're right. Every fucking movie, he's got a brother that something horrific happens to.
Dude, that's my takeaway from this movie.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, does it stand the test of time? Not really, but nostalgia tells me that I like this movie. If that makes sense.
Look, it's entertaining. There's no question about it. But if you want to know what kind of movie it is, it's a movie called Kickboxer that's about Muay Thai fighting.
That's fair.
That literally sums it all up for me.
Yep. And JCVD splits, but that's it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's in the fucking thing. It's got to do some splits.
I think the split counter was at like 15 in this movie, by the way.
Oh, but in the dance scene.
But that's all I got. Do you got anything else?
Nah.
All right. For Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1989's Kickboxer.